Bashar.
And you, good day.
I wanted to see if you could speak about consensus realities.
Yes. Consensus reality. Yes.
Yeah, if you could elaborate on that.
Well, again, the idea is that you have all agreed to play by certain rules of a particular game. That's the consensus reality level. So the analogy would be like saying, I want to belong to a chess club. Therefore, I'm going to go join a chess club. I will play by the rules of chess, because otherwise, what's the point of belonging to a chess club? I'm not going to play checkers because that's a different club. So the consensus reality is that this is a chess club and you play by the rules of chess. Now, there's a lot of flexibility in that. You can play with different kinds of pieces. You can play on different kinds of boards. You can play with different kinds of strategies and understandings of the game. But if you're not playing by the general rules, you're not playing chess, and you're not part of the consensus reality of the club. So all of you who are on Earth have agreed that you will play by the general rules of Earth, by the general idea of physical reality. But now, at this timing, because it's a transformational age, there's a little bit more leeway. You're sort of relaxing and inventing and expanding some new rules. And still agreeing that even though some may not play by those rules, it's still within the overall acceptance that it belongs to the consensus reality. There's a little bit more leeway for individuals to play by their own rules, while still sort of obeying, shall we say, the generalized rules of the reality. In other words, it's not impossible to ignore the concept of gravity, but it's not necessarily probable that you will, because you probably don't necessarily need to ignore the idea of gravity on your planet to explore what it is that's relevant for you. So you will stick to some of the consensus rules, some of the consensus agreements that you've made, but you will expand in other directions that give you more flexibility as an individual. Does that explain it clearly enough?
Yes. That's my only
Yes?
question. I love you.
Our unconditional love to you.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And you, good day.
So the last time we spoke, you had mentioned that the whales had a message for me to bring them onto the land. And you had said that a 3D sculpture with
Yes.
maybe adding another fourth dimension.
Yes, bringing the whale energy onto the land with 3D sculptures placed around in your society.
Okay, and you had added that even fourth dimension would be even more valuable. Can you
Yes.
get more clear on that?
Well, a dimension of time. In other words, let's say, for example, you have a sculpture of a whale below the waterline,
Okay.
and a whale in the next one getting closer to the waterline, and the next one breaching the waterline, and the next one flying through the air, and the next sculpture going back through the waterline, and the final one being back under the waterline. That's a sculpture in time,
I love
in the fourth dimension, because you're following an actual path with the sculpture. It's leading you through a temporal experience. Yes?
I love it. That's exactly
But
what
the sculpture exists all at once.
Yeah.
Yes? So it is timeless, but expresses the concept of time.
That's great. I just needed to clarify that. Thank you.
Yes.
And then when we went to Baja, so you said to follow the excitement and the synchronicity of the
And?
Vaquita. And so when we went to the place that I felt inspired to go, there was a beautiful situation where there were some fish that were trapped into an actual trap. And we were able to save them. So it felt like a metaphor. I felt like I couldn't do much for the vaquita, but I could do something for these fish.
Yes.
And then synchronistically, we learned right after that that the sea shepherd was there at the same time the night before, and they were actually rescuing some vaquita. So that synchronicity continued to play
All right.
out.
Thank you for your synchronicity creation.
Thank you. So the idea of synchronicity, though, you mentioned about negative synchronicity. Can you expand more on that?
Expand on,
Negative synchronicity.
well, yes, of course. As you buy into negative beliefs, the synchronicity is going to reinforce and reinforce and reinforce your choice to only see things in negative ways. And so it will create a momentum that you would consider to be a downward spiral. Just as positive synchronicity will take its cue from positive definitions that you apply to any given situation and create an expanding upward spiral.
Okay, and so the negative synchronicity, it's almost like a limiting belief where it will, you said if we wouldn't see them or we wouldn't follow them, I think is what you said the last time. Can you?
Yes.
Is that
In other words, the negative synchronicity will actually limit your ability to even perceive synchronicity. You will just mostly call it bad luck,
yeah.
but it's negative synchronicity.
And
Yes.
so, okay, and so even with our limiting beliefs, if there's something that we want to experience, but we have a belief that it's not possible until we see it, can you talk about that?
Well, anything is possible, but the real question is it relevant or probable to happen in your life?
Right, for that person, right? So if they have a desire, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen for them. If it's,
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
That's why the third part of the formula is so crucial. No insistence, no assumption. You see, when you wrap your mind around the fact that insisting on a particular outcome, assuming a particular outcome is actually limiting what might happen, you'll finally stop insisting. Right now, many humans on your planet think that insisting on a particular outcome means that's the best thing that could happen. How do you know? You don't. So without the insistence, there's no resistance to what could happen that might be many times greater than you were actually even capable of imagining. So don't limit yourself in a negative way by assuming that you know what the best outcome is. Your physical mind has no idea what the best outcome for you would be, but your higher mind does.
I love you, Bashar.
We love you as well.
Thank you. So continuing on with the synchronicity of the whales. So when we were in the water with the gray whales, I got the clarity that they wanted to hear this specific song. So I had a speaker and I played the song and it attracted, we had 8 whales around us,
All right.
babies. And they kept saying, play it again, play it again. And I felt like there was this communication going on between them amongst themselves.
Of course.
Can you share anything?
No, not at this time.
All right. And nothing about that song in particular. It was Amazing Grace.
Not at this time.
All right.
Just understand that you all exist with amazing grace if you would simply allow yourselves to go with the flow. Remember this little rhyme, to allow yourself to experience more of your own amazing grace.
Thank you.
Go with the flow. The current knows where you need to go. Yes?
This should be another t-shirt.
Then flow with grace. And also, if you would, you can flow back to your seat.
Thank you, Bashar. I love you.
Thank you.